In the last issue, Blaze was able to save Vincenzo and himself from Ronaldo and the clutches of Nightmare. But this time, Blaze will become face-to-face with the man himself, the Freakmaster. Join us and find out if he's able to survive in this crazy tale.
Look into my eyes. Your soul is stained by the blood of the innocent. Feel their pain.
We begin with Blaze and Vincenzo arriving at the Quentin Carnival. Vincenzo seems to be muttering that there's danger. Blaze tells him to take it easy. They make their way to Quentin's camper. Blaze tells him that he's got to talk to him. He tries to warn Quentin that Freakmaster is on his way, but it seems to be too late. Blaze hurls himself at Freakmaster. Two of his men stop him. Freakmaster tells him to take a seat. Blaze is just pissed. He shows what they did to Vincenzo. Freakmaster is either acting shocked or is legitimately unknowing of Vincenzo's condition. He tries to assure Blaze that he had nothing to do with it, while Quentin is just godsmacked. Freakmaster says he'll try anything with his power to fix him. He goes on to try to explain himself and explains his past. Freakmaster was born to a mother and father that just so happened to be freaks themselves. He was raised in a carnival where both his parents were shown off as exhibits and mistreated. They were exploited for what they were. When they passed away, he strived to take over and make life better for the rejected freaks of society. When he amassed enough money, he built his own utopia outside of society. When he found out about people like Jeremy, he would kidnap them and take them to sanctuary. He says he admits that sometimes his methods may seem crude, especially when he hires men like Ronaldo and Steelwind. And he says that Steelwind went against his wishes, and he had no idea of the damage that she would cause. Johnny calls bullshit and shows off the blueprints and says, "How can you explain what happened to Vincenzo and what you guys were doing to him?" Freakmaster goes on to blame Ronaldo for both instances and tries to apologize, but he does admit to wanting to replace Blaze. Blaze wants to understand why. Quentin himself interrupts saying, "It's because of the demon," and Johnny seems surprised that he knows of Ghost Rider. Freakmaster explains that he did have to tell Quentin since they are now partners, and assures Blaze that once Ronaldo shows up tonight, his employment will be terminated. And a van pulls up. Ronaldo pops out and he's creeping along to go to the trailer that they're in when all of a sudden a shadowy figure looms above him and he looks terrified. We cut back to Freakmaster and Blaze. Freakmaster says that if he truly believes he can control the demon inside him, he would like for Blaze to stay with the carnival. Blaze thanks him hesitantly and says that he's very kind. Blaze and Vincenzo leave. Freakmaster mockingly says, "Indeed I am kind," questioning why Mr. Quentin is brooding. Mr. Quentin just tells him to shut up. Freakmaster gets a little tense and says, "Do not ever speak to me like that again." Just outside, Blaze and Vincenzo are walking along. Vincenzo begs Blaze not to let Freakmaster fool him. Blaze assures him that he isn't fooled, and he's just playing along until he figures out what's going on. Zarathos interrupts, yelling at Blaze, telling him to let him free, as he does not understand the true evil he is messing with. He demands to be set free so that he may obliterate Freakmaster. Blaze is able to block him out and compose himself. He tells Vincenzo that they should try to get some sleep. They could use it. In the morning, Blaze and Vincenzo meet up with Corky, Red, and Cynthia. They walk the fairgrounds, and Vincenzo seems to be getting a little better. Cynthia mentions that she met with Quentin's new partner, and she commented that he seemed nice. Maybe a little too nice, but also mentions that the carnival seems to be getting back on track and maybe things are finally over. Blaze asks why she's still here, in the nicest way he can. She says she's pondering the idea of turning her material into possibly a book, expanding upon it, and also because there's a few things she would like to talk to Blaze about. Red notices this. And Red's like, maybe she's developing a bit of a crush on Johnny. Ralph Quentin observes all of this, thinking that everyone seems unassuming, doesn't expect a thing, saying soon everything will come crashing down around them. He feels terrible, wishing he could warn them, but he's too afraid of saying there's no one but himself to blame. Suddenly, Vincenzo yells out in pain, and he passes out. Blaze tells Red and Cynthia to get him back to Blaze's tent, saying he has to go take care of something. He noticed during Vincenzo's freakout that Vincenzo was pointing to Freakmaster's tent. Blaze decides to investigate. Right outside the tent, he meets two of Freakmaster's goons. They told him that he can't come in without permission. Then we hear Freakmaster in the back saying, "But he does have permission. Please come inside." Blaze walks inside and is overwhelmed by what he sees, asking, "What is all this?" Freakmaster answers, "The new freak tent, of course." Blaze is surprised. Freakmaster is exploiting the freaks that he claimed to have so much compassion for. Freakmaster explains this is what he does best. It's how he made his fortune. His fortune isn't just for him. He uses the money for his island paradise that all the freaks enjoy. This is for their benefit, he says. He says that they are all happy to contribute. Blaze and Freakmaster come across a giant, overwhelmingly big man in many different ways. The human pincushion is the label above the big fellow. Blaze notices that this one doesn't look too happy. Freakmaster sighs and says, "This is not one of the better cases." His body is distorted in a cruel, mocking nature, and his mind has been ravaged as well. Were Freakmaster and his men not here to see to his every need and give him the warmth, the caring all men require to survive, he surely would perish, broken-hearted and alone. Blaze, for just one moment, locks eyes with the big one, and he notices that his mind seems empty. Through his eyes, though, he suddenly hears Vincenzo's voice in his head. "Johnny, it's Ronaldo! Ronaldo!" Johnny is in disbelief. "Ronaldo," he whispers. Suddenly, the big man starts shaking and thrashing and bellowing. Freakmaster is like, "What did you say to him?" as he tries to tend to the bellowing giant. Blaze says, "Nothing." Freakmaster doesn't buy it. "You certainly said something that has terrified this poor man." He tells Blaze he's afraid he must have him leave. Blaze is like, "Well, whatever you say." And as he's leaving, he's about to go out the opposite end of where he first arrived. And Freakmaster yells, "The way you came in!" Blaze just looks at him. Then he decides to do what he says. Elsewhere, we find a mysterious woman coming outside of a taxi cab. She makes her way into a hotel, and we see a newspaper about the Quentin Carnival on her dresser. This must be the woman from the last issue that was asking about Blaze. Later that night, Johnny is watching over Vincenzo as he sleeps. Suddenly he wakes up startled. So startled that he tells Blaze it was a dream, but it was more than a dream. In it, Ronaldo was crying, or he was laughing. He said what happened to him will soon happen to all of us. All of us! As he suddenly passes back out, Blaze immediately leaves, sneaking across to Freakmaster's tent. He tries to go under, but he sees that there are steel walls hidden beneath the tent. He decides to scale the tent to get to the top and sneak in through the roof. He gets inside and decides to head for the mysterious door that Freakmaster was so adamant about him not going in. He may seem dumb at times, but he was observant enough to watch what numbers were being pressed into the panel next to the secret door earlier. He punches the same numbers in and voila, here we are. We see machinery everywhere and weapons. He realizes his suspicions were right. Freakmaster truly is planning to turn all of them into monsters, but he is caught by Freakmaster himself. Apparently, Freakmaster was expecting this and knew he would show up in time. And now, he will have Blaze dead before the demon emerges. Just then, he presses a button and crazy man vehicles molded together appear out of doors. 4 of them. They come straight for Blaze. As Blaze gets knocked over, he hears Vincenzo's voice telling him that there's danger, which is freaking obvious. Then there's Ghost Rider yelling at him to be let out. Blaze is just aggravated and yells for them both to shut up. Frustrated, he struggles to maintain control as both voices ravage inside his head. Suddenly, the Ghost Rider emerges. He shoots all 4 motorcycle people with hellfire. Freakmaster is in shock. Vincenzo screams out in horror, seeing all of this in his head. And then we cut to Quentin. He decides to investigate the loud noises coming from Freakmaster's tent, and he makes it quite obvious that he knew Freakmaster was going to betray them all. Ghost Rider creates his hell cycle and starts riding it around, kicking these motorcycle freaks' asses, enjoying their screams of pain. One of them manages to get a chain around Ghost Rider's neck. Ghost Rider, using this chain, flings the man across the wall. Another freak shoots the rider with whirling blades. This has no effect, and Ghost Rider mocks the freak for even trying. Then the freak does something a little more daring and shoots something at the Ghost Rider's bike. It ends up magnetizing his bike. Metal shrapnel and debris from all over comes flinging towards the Rider and destroys the bike. Quentin arrives just in time to see all the chaos. Another freak shoots metal spikes at the Rider. He's stuck against a wall and pulls the wall off, screaming,
"Pretty scum! Zarathos will never fall before the likes of you. Never! Never!"
He knocks all of them to the ground. Quentin is in awe at this crazy situation.
"It is time, Freakmaster. The game plague is done. Punishment must be meted out. Guilty must pay."
Freakmaster panics, saying if he wants someone guilty, he points to Ralph Quentin and says take him. Ghost Rider ignores this and takes hold of Freakmaster, though Quentin surprisingly interrupts them, saying, "He's right, Demon. I'm the one who should be punished." Ghost Rider finds this intriguing and tells him to speak. Quentin explains that he was desperate and poor and scrounged up as much money as he could to buy and make his first carnival. But he was so desperate and hardworking that he exploited the people that worked for him, especially the freaks. He was the one that Freakmaster talked about earlier, the one who worked Freakmaster's parents to death. And he had buried that guilt for a long time until Freakmaster showed up and forced him to face it. He couldn't move against Freakmaster because of the guilt and believes he should suffer for it. He says that everything that has happened is on his head, so the demon is going to have to take him if it takes anyone. And for the first time, the Ghost Rider hesitates. See, normally, the Ghost Rider would not give a shit about either one of these guys. If it were up to him, back in the day, he would have just fried them both. But because of Blaze's subconsciousness and being trapped with him for so long on the mortal plane, he is compelled to punish only the guilty. He fought this time and time again, without complete success. For the first time, he knows doubt, and because of this pause, his control slips and Blaze takes over. He points to Freakmaster and says, "Now you've seen how uncontrollable the Rider truly is for yourself. Take your people and get the hell out of here." He says next time he promises he won't stop the Ghost Rider. Freakmaster responds that he believes him. He tells his people to pack up and decides he's going to leave. But he also says that this isn't a victory, and they shouldn't see it as one. He says, "Observe Quentin, look at the defeat in his eyes, and understand that your demon and I together have shared a victory. For Ralph Quentin is now broken, and will never again know peace." The next day, Quentin is being bombarded with questions, but he remains silent. Blaze tries to talk with him, but Quentin tells him to leave him the hell alone and leaves. As Blaze contemplates going after him, someone from behind calls his name. Johnny Blaze recognizes the voice and turns around. It's Roxanne Simpson. Roxanne! Wow, that ending. DeMatteis and Budiansky really knocked it out of the park again. I mean, we finally get to see Johnny Blaze and Roxanne reunite. It's a big deal. And we finally saw the end of Freakmaster's story. This issue really was about tying up loose ends and making everything come together for the final story, which is the next two issues. It's the final story of Johnny Blaze's first run, and I'm gonna do it all in one video. I'm going to try my best to get it done by the end of the year. We only got 2 weeks left. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but I'm going to try. We'll see what happens. But this issue, the action, the artwork, the story, it all really came together extremely well. And it was interesting to see Freakmaster go from being this evil villain that we keep hearing about, this master manipulator, evil son of a bitch, and we find out that he's Dick, but the original Dick was Quentin. That was interesting to find out, kind of a neat twist. The fact that Quentin was kind of the first douchebag, and he kind of ruined Freakmaster's life, you know? And that was kind of interesting that he created the original sin that started the cycle that turned Freakmaster into a douchebag. I thought that was really interesting and really well done. Also, seeing Ronaldo turn into this huge, what the fuck? You know, that was... I mean, he deserved it, but damn. I mean, the dude first gets his soul incinerated by Ghost Rider and is tortured with these horrible nightmares and everything, and then bam, now he's this human pincushion. Dude has a shitty life. I mean, what goes around comes around, but I feel like this goes a little farther than your typical karma. I kind of feel sorry for the dude. But besides that, this issue was awesome. The action was a lot of fun. Ghost Rider is a nutcase. I had a lot of fun with this issue, I guess. I hope you guys did too. Again, I'm going to try to get this next video done by the end of the year. I don't know. We'll see. Don't hold your breath on that one. It might end up coming out right after the beginning of New Year's. Anyways, I wish you guys all well. You guys take it easy and have a good night, alright? Or good day.